Hey everyone, welcome to Science-Based Fitness. My name's Adam, thanks for checking us out. Today's video is all about meal preps. Now I've had a lot of clients looking to either reduce body fat, lose weight in general, and these types of videos are really helpful for those who struggle with what to eat. Now I'm not a dietitian nor a nutritionist, and if you need more specific advice, I recommend talking to one. This video is more of a helpful guide on things that I typically would eat and make into a meal prep. As I go, I explain and try to justify each thing I'm adding in. One thing you'll be able to tell right away, I'm not a chef. I'm simply just prepping out some foods that will help me in a cut myself. So I'm trying to reduce body fat, and in another video that I'm also recording around the same time, you'll be able to see how I track my progress and how meal prepping is really beneficial for body fat reduction. Now in this video, I actually have a special guest, a client of mine and a friend that I've been able to help in his weight loss journey. Now he's a very motivated individual. That makes it a lot easier for a trainer to help push and drive that person to continue to lose weight. And we even use some of these same meals in the beginning of his weight loss journey to help speed things up a bit. I'm gonna break down some of my meal preps so you guys can follow along at home if you'd like. Let me know in the comments below how these worked out for you. And I will say, if you're not the best cook, this is super easy to follow along with. So without further ado, let's get right into the food. And at the end, we'll talk to my client Josh and we'll see some of the tips that he implemented along with these strategies to get to where he is now. Alright everyone, today we're making a basil pesto chicken. It's really simple, easy to follow along. Towards the end, I put in a simple breakfast fruit and yogurt parfait, very easy to make. But first, we're gonna walk through some of the steps on how to do this, and it shouldn't take too long. First thing, we're gonna use 3 chicken breasts, diced up into 4 separate piles. We're gonna pan sear this chicken, and these little pieces cook a little bit more thoroughly, and you don't have to worry about having raw spots. While that cooks, we're gonna half some little tomatoes. While the chicken's cooking, I make sure I'm consistently moving it every few minutes so it doesn't burn on one side. As it cooks more thoroughly, you'll notice some more browning on the underside. As that cooks, we're gonna get some water ready for the broccoli. We're just gonna be steaming the broccoli, so we don't wanna fill the pan up with water. And then we do want a second pan filled with water where we're gonna use some bagged brown rice. This is the easiest way to cook it, in my opinion. Now, after the chicken's cooked, we're gonna take that and put it into a separate container. Ignore the tape measure in the background. My fiance is trying to measure the area rug. We're gonna put some oil into this pan, put some garlic in for some good flavor. Then we're gonna put the half tomatoes in so we can mix this together. You can see it starts to add some color. As you cook this, you can really smell the flavor here. Once when it starts to get a golden brown, we're gonna add the chicken back in. Now, like I said, I'm not a cook, so I don't know this technique, but I kind of just gently toss the chicken so it all mixes up and we get the flavor of the garlic and tomatoes throughout the entire dish. When it comes to the chicken, I ended up mixing in a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, some chili powder, which always adds some nice flavoring, and then what I think is the best spice, which is cumin. And I don't know why, it reminds me of taco seasoning, which is obviously in, but it's amazing. So I definitely use this for almost everything. Now, when it comes to mixing the basil pesto in, you could make your own basil pesto. I don't know how to do that. I just went to the local grocery store and picked up whatever I could find. Now I added 3 scoops of basil pesto. You only see 2 here, but then you're gonna mix it together and let it cook for another minute or 2. Meanwhile, as that's finishing up, we're gonna move on to the broccoli. Now the broccoli, we're gonna mix in some butter for some flavor. I know that's not the healthiest, but it makes it more palatable. Then from there, a little bit of seasoning with some salt and some pepper. Pretty generic and pretty bland. That's why the butter does add some flavor with that fat. From there, I just like to mix it all together, make sure that butter and salt and pepper gets throughout the entire thing. Now, I'm not a huge broccoli person. I'm not like beholden to one specific vegetable. There's a philosophy I learned in my nutrition courses that was called Eat the Rainbow. It has to do with eating more vegetables and having a bunch of different colors. So I will say this is something that if you find broccoli or a specific vegetable you pick getting bland, so switch it up, try to have some different vegetables, try to mix in some vegetables of other colors as well. From here, the rice takes about 10 minutes to cook, and when that's done, we're gonna start loading this all into the meal prep containers. Now, I use brown rice because brown rice has a slower absorption rate of carbohydrate and is what's considered a complex carbohydrate. Now from there, I'm gonna just mix my broccoli in. There's really no special way to load these. From there, we're gonna mix in the entree, the chicken basil pesto, and it looks delicious. I will say, I think I went a little heavy with the basil pesto, and it's very oily in my experiences. As it sits in the fridge for a couple days, it can stay a little bit moister, having a little bit of excess oil. Here's my simple fruit and yogurt parfait that I like to mix together. This is a great morning snack, and I loaded this up with blueberries, which are high in fiber, some strawberries, which are just amazing. So I used a really generic vanilla Greek yogurt, and I know yogurt gets a reputation for not being the healthiest because of the added sugar. I made sure I picked one that didn't have a lot of added sugar, and due to the fiber content in the blueberries, hopefully this can slow the absorption rate. But it's not always a bad idea to have some type of carbohydrate in the morning to refuel your liver glycogen, since this gets depleted at night. I like to do this in layers: a little yogurt, some fruit, a little yogurt, some fruit, until you're done. And then I just threw in this super simple salad mixture. I just went to the local grocery store and picked the mixture of greens that I like and then put them into containers. This is a little bit easier to portion out what you're gonna have throughout the day. And our final reveal here, this is 4 days of meal prepping. Now, this isn't the only food that I will eat on these days. I typically will still have my protein shakes mixed in. I'll still have a granola bar. Typically when I'm having someone trying to lose weight or do any type of a cut, we're in a calorie deficit, but roughly 300 to 500 calories at most. So make sure you're having something more than just this. All right, so I brought Josh on for this video today because he's used some of these meal prepping strategies to achieve his weight loss goals. And now, Josh, where we're at now, you've lost, I think, 38 pounds in approximately 7 or 8 months, which is awesome. So these are some of Josh's numbers in what he actually achieved in his weight loss journey. Now, we've tracked this over the last 7 months. So you can see that we lost weight across the board. We managed to reduce size in all of our measurements and even reduce body fat a significant amount. Now, Josh, where we're at now, you've lost, I think, 38 pounds in approximately 7 or 8 months, which is awesome. Now, what's your goal in about a year? Where do you want to keep striving? Like, what do you want to push towards?
I mean, my goal in a year is to have that number in the triple digits, be down 100 pounds by then.
Okay.
So that, along with, gaining some muscle mass on top of that.
Okay, great.
The strength and everything helps you out, so.
Yeah, for sure. So let's discuss what strategies we use to actually achieve that 38-pound weight loss goal in that 7-month window.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing you told me right when I started training with you was, how many calories do I eat a day? I guessed a number, you said that's probably higher. I started actually counting, and you were right.
Yeah, and that's one of the big things I see with tons of people. They come in and they don't necessarily understand how many calories they're actually taking in. Best advice I can give when you're starting out is try to count those calories, see where you're actually at, because when we say we're consuming 2,000 or 3,000 calories, we miss little things that we add into our diet. These little things add up pretty quickly, and if we don't actually get to see it, it's easy to forget how many calories we're taking in. So one of the things we used is a lot of weight-bearing exercises, so all sorts of stuff, bench press, squats, a lot of your standard exercises. Now, I don't want to say that there's one specific exercise that helped us get to this goal. It's really more or less consistency, making sure you're getting into the gym enough. That frequency has to be high enough, consistency high enough, and it definitely can be a lifestyle change for some people. Okay, Josh, so I want to ask you, if you had to give someone advice at home that's watching today, what was the biggest hurdle for you that you had to try to overcome? Because I'm sure there's other people struggling with that. What would that hurdle be, and what advice do you have to try to get over that?
I mean, my biggest hurdle is probably actually physically going to the gym, because, you have to block out a chunk of your time to make yourself available to go, and it's not the funnest thing to do, but then you try to make it fun. You start going, you get a rhythm down, you go 2-3 times a week, everyone starts to know you. It becomes like your second family almost. All
right, so I want to say thank you, Josh, for stopping by, being involved in this video, and for the next year, let's keep it up, and we'll keep on making our progress going forward.
Yeah,
so thank you very much. I hope everyone enjoyed the video. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing, hit that like button, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good day.
Not only that.
Of
course you're going to get them all out now.
I think it's worse that I can see myself. I'm going to turn this to the side.